Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Station, watching the stars through the massive window. The quiet hum of computers filled the air around him. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he did not care. 3 months had passed since the aliens first contacted Earth, and everything had changed. The communication panel beeped with an urgent message. Lieutenant Amy Johnson rushed to her station and her face went pale. She looked up at Morrison with wide eyes. "Captain, we have multiple ships approaching the outer defense perimeter. They are not responding to our standard greeting protocols." Morrison walked to the main display screen. Dozens of red dots appeared on the tactical map. The ships were massive, much larger than anything Earth had ever built. They moved in perfect formation toward the planet. Morrison felt his heart rate increase, but kept his voice steady. "How many ships are we looking at?" 47 vessels, sir. They match the design patterns of Galactic Council ships from our database. Johnson's fingers moved quickly across her controls. "They will reach our orbital platforms in 6 hours at current speed." Morrison activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the captain. We are now at defense. Condition 2. All personnel report to battle stations immediately." He turned to Johnson. "Get me a direct line to Admiral Kevin Brooks on Earth." The holographic display showed Admiral Brooks in his underground command center. The older man looked tired and worried. "Morrison, what is the situation up there?" "Sir, we have a full council fleet approaching. This is not a diplomatic visit. They are moving in attack formation and ignoring all our attempts to communicate." Morrison pulled up the tactical display. "I recommend we activate the planetary defense grid immediately." Brooks nodded slowly. "Do it. I am also calling Ambassador Claire Phillips back from the Council station. Her negotiations have clearly failed." The Admiral paused. "Morrison, I need you to understand something. If they are coming in force like this, they have already made their decision about Earth." The communication ended, and Morrison felt a chill run down his spine. For 3 months, Earth had been trying to join the Galactic Council. The aliens had seemed interested at first, but talks had grown more difficult each week. Ambassador Phillips had sent increasingly worried reports about the Council's attitude toward humanity. Dr. Lisa Carter entered the bridge, carrying a datapad. She was the chief scientist who had been studying alien technology and communications. "Captain, I have been monitoring Council transmissions. They are using military frequencies and speaking in their command language. This is definitely not a peaceful mission." Morrison looked at the approaching ships on the screen. Each one was the size of a small city. Earth's defense platforms looked tiny compared to the alien vessels. "What are they saying, Doctor?" Carter's face was grim. "They keep using the term pacification protocol and referring to Earth as a Category 5 threat species. I have never heard these terms before, but they do not sound good." The bridge crew worked frantically to prepare for the approaching fleet. Morrison watched his people with pride. They were scared, but they did their jobs without complaint. Humanity had always been good at facing impossible odds. 2 hours later, the Council ships reached the outer edge of Earth's solar system. A massive vessel at the front of the formation began transmitting on all frequencies. The alien voice was cold and mechanical when translated by the computer. "Attention, primitive species of the third planet. I am High Commander Kethver of the Zephyrian Empire, speaking for the Galactic Council. You have been classified as a dangerous and unpredictable species. Your rapid expansion and aggressive nature pose a threat to galactic peace." Morrison felt anger building in his chest. The aliens had been watching Earth for months, studying human behavior and technology. Now they were calling humanity dangerous. The alien continued speaking. "The Council has decided that your species must be placed under protective custody for the safety of all civilized worlds. You will immediately surrender all military vessels and weapons. Your government will be dissolved and replaced by Council administrators. Any resistance will be met with immediate pacification. The transmission ended, and silence filled the bridge. Morrison looked at his crew. They were all staring at him, waiting for orders. He had trained his whole life for moments like this, but nothing could have prepared him for an alien invasion. Dr. Carter spoke first. "Captain, they are giving us exactly 1 hour to respond. If we refuse their terms, they will begin what they call forced compliance procedures." Morrison activated his communication system again. "Admiral Brooks, did you receive that transmission?" "Yes, Morrison. I heard every word." Brooks' voice was filled with cold fury. "The Council thinks they can just walk in here and take over our planet. They have made a serious mistake." "What are your orders, sir?" "Send this message to the Council fleet. Tell them that Earth will never surrender to any alien force. Tell them that humanity has faced extinction before, and we have always found a way to survive. Tell them that they have just made the biggest mistake in their long history." Morrison turned to his communications officer. "Send that message exactly as the Admiral said it." The reply came back within minutes. The alien voice was filled with contempt. "Your primitive species does not understand the situation. The Council has conquered 1,000 worlds. Your resistance is meaningless. You have 30 minutes to reconsider, or we will begin bombardment of your orbital installations." Admiral Brooks appeared on the communication screen again. His face was set in hard lines. "Morrison, activate Defense Protocol 7. It is time to show these aliens what humanity is really capable of." Morrison had heard rumors about Defense Protocol 7, but had never seen it activated. He entered his command codes and watched as new systems came online across the solar system. Hidden weapon platforms revealed themselves. Massive railguns emerged from asteroids. Ship construction yards that had been disguised as mining operations began launching vessels. "My God," Dr. Carter whispered. "How long has Earth been preparing for this?" "Since the day we first detected alien signals," Brooks replied. "We hoped for peace, but we prepared for war. The Council thinks they know everything about humanity. They are about to learn how wrong they are." The Council fleet began moving toward Earth's orbital platforms. Morrison could see weapon systems charging on the alien ships. In 30 minutes, the first shots of humanity's first interstellar war would be fired. Morrison looked at his crew one more time. They were no longer scared. They were angry. The aliens had come to Earth expecting to find a primitive species that would surrender without a fight. Instead, they had awakened something that had been sleeping in the human heart for generations. The countdown timer on the bridge showed 15 minutes remaining. Morrison smiled grimly. The Council was about to discover that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or their weapons. It was their absolute refusal to kneel before any enemy, no matter how powerful they claimed to be. Colonel Ryan Hayes crouched behind a damaged wall in the ruins of Detroit. The city had been evacuated 3 days ago as part of Earth's greatest deception. Smoke rose from carefully placed fires that made the area look like a war zone. His team of special operations soldiers waited in the shadows, ready to play their part in the elaborate show. The Council's reconnaissance drones buzzed overhead, scanning the abandoned streets with their sensors. Hayes spoke quietly into his radio. "This is Ghost Leader. The targets are in position. Begin Phase 2 of the performance." Across the city, actors dressed as panicked civilians ran through the streets. Fake explosions went off in predetermined locations. Military vehicles drove around in circles, making it look like human forces were in complete chaos. The Council watchers recorded everything, sending the images back to their fleet. Dr. Marcus Webb sat in his underground laboratory, 3 miles beneath the Colorado mountains. His team had been working without sleep for the past week, preparing Earth's real weapons for the coming battle. The Council believed humans were primitive warmongers who relied on crude nuclear weapons and simple projectile guns. They had no idea what Webb's people had been building. "How long until the quantum torpedoes are ready?" Webb asked his assistant, Dr. Kate Sullivan. Another 6 hours for the first batch, 12 hours for the full arsenal. Sullivan looked tired but determined. The Council's ship hulls are designed to resist conventional explosives and energy weapons. They have never encountered quantum disruption technology. Webb nodded with satisfaction. For the past 10 years, Earth's scientists had been studying every piece of alien technology they could find. Crashed probe ships, abandoned relay stations, even garbage left behind by alien survey teams. Humanity had learned to reverse engineer Council technology and then improve upon it. General Patricia Stone walked through the empty streets of Washington, D.C. The capital city had been evacuated as part of the deception, but hidden beneath the streets, millions of soldiers waited in hardened bunkers. The Council's spy drone saw only empty buildings and abandoned vehicles. Stone's radio crackled with reports from around the world. London evacuation complete. Tokyo showing signs of panic as planned. Moscow forces appeared to be retreating in disorder. Everything was going according to plan. The Council believed they were facing a species that was tearing itself apart under pressure. Human news broadcasts showed riots, government officials fleeing, and military units abandoning their posts. It was all fake, but the aliens had no way to know that. Captain Amy Johnson guided her stealth ship through the outer edge of the Council fleet. Her vessel was invisible to alien sensors, using technology that Earth had developed by studying captured Council cloaking devices. She counted ships and weapon systems, gathering intelligence for the coming battle. 230 vessels total, she reported to Admiral Brooks. 12 different species represented in the fleet. The Zephyrians have the most ships, but the Cortoni heavy cruisers are the biggest threat. Johnson's ship moved silently between the massive alien vessels. The Council crews had no idea they were being watched. They talked openly on their communication channels, discussing their plans for conquering Earth. They expect the battle to last less than 6 hours, Johnson continued. Their commander thinks human resistance will collapse once they start bombing our cities. Back on Earth, Ambassador Claire Phillips sat in a secure bunker, reviewing intelligence reports. She had spent months talking to Council representatives, learning their weaknesses and blind spots. The aliens were incredibly arrogant, believing that their technology and numbers made them unstoppable. They have conquered over 1,000 worlds, Phillips told Admiral Brooks during their briefing, but they have never faced a species that fought back with real determination. Most planets surrender after the first orbital bombardment. Brooks smiled coldly. They are about to learn that humans are not like most species. The deception continued for 3 more days. Earth's media showed increasing panic and social breakdown. Military leaders appeared on television, arguing among themselves and abandoning their posts. The Council watched it all, becoming more confident with each passing hour. High Commander Kethver sat in his command ship, reviewing the intelligence reports. The primitive humans were falling apart, just as he had predicted. Their crude civilization was collapsing under the pressure of superior alien technology. Begin the final approach, he ordered his fleet. The humans are ready to surrender. A few orbital bombardments should finish breaking their will to resist. The Council ships moved toward Earth in perfect formation, their weapons charged, ready to deliver the killing blow to human civilization. The alien crews were relaxed and confident, already planning how they would divide up Earth's resources. But deep beneath the planet's surface, humanity's real military awakened. Admiral Brooks stood in his command center, watching displays that showed the true scope of Earth's defenses. Hidden weapon platforms throughout the solar system came online. Massive battleships emerged from concealed shipyards. Fighter squadrons launched from secret bases. Operation Thunderstrike is complete, Brooks announced to his staff. The Council has walked directly into our trap. Dr. Webb's quantum weapons were loaded onto Earth's ships. The revolutionary technology would punch through Council shields like they were made of paper. Captain Johnson's stealth ships moved into attack position, ready to strike at the alien fleet's most vulnerable points. Colonel Hayes and his special operations teams prepared for the ground phase of the battle. If any Council ships survived the initial assault, they would find that Earth's surface was defended by the most determined soldiers in the galaxy. The Council fleet reached Earth's orbital space, expecting to find a broken planet defended by primitive weapons. Instead, they found themselves surrounded by an enemy that had been preparing for this moment for years. The first Council ship to enter Earth's defensive perimeter was the heavy cruiser Dominion. Its crew was scanning for human military installations when the asteroid belt around them suddenly came alive with weapons fire. Hidden gun platforms revealed themselves, launching projectiles that moved faster than anything the aliens had ever seen. "Impossible," Kethver whispered, as his tactical display showed dozens of his ships taking damage. Where did these weapons come from? The answer came from Admiral Brooks himself, broadcasting on all frequencies. "Council Fleet, this is Admiral Kevin Brooks of the Terran Defense Force. You came here expecting to find a primitive species that would bow before your superior technology. Instead, you have found humans. We do not surrender. We do not retreat. We do not kneel." The Council ships tried to return fire, but found themselves caught in a carefully planned crossfire. Earth's weapons were more advanced than anything the aliens possessed. The quantum torpedoes tore through their shields. The railguns punched holes in their hulls. The stealth ships struck from unexpected angles. "How is this possible?" Keth demanded. "Our intelligence reports showed a species barely capable of interplanetary travel." His intelligence officer looked terrified. "Commander, I believe we have been deceived. The humans have been hiding their true capabilities. This entire fleet is a trap." The battle raged for hours, but the outcome was never in doubt. Earth's forces had every advantage: superior weapons, better tactics, and the element of surprise. The Council fleet, so confident in their superiority, found themselves outmatched by the species they had underestimated. As his command ship took critical damage, Kethver realized that the Council had made a terrible mistake. Humanity was not a primitive species to be conquered. They were a sleeping giant that had been awakened by the Council's aggression. The surviving Council ships began retreating, but Earth's forces pursued them. The hunt had begun, and humanity would not stop until every ship that had threatened their world was destroyed. Commander Tony Martinez watched from his hidden command post as the Council fleet moved deeper into Earth's solar system. The aliens had no idea they were flying through the most dangerous space in the galaxy. Martinez had spent 5 years turning the asteroid belt into a weapon, and now it was time to spring the trap. "All stations, this is Asteroid Command. The targets are in position. Begin Operation Hammerfall." Martinez pressed the activation button and watched as thousands of space mines came online throughout the solar system. The Council ships moved in perfect formation, their commanders confident that they faced a defeated enemy. High Commander Kethver stood on his bridge, reviewing the attack plan. His fleet would bombard Earth's orbital platforms, then move to the planet's surface to begin the occupation. "Human resistance has been minimal," reported his tactical officer. "Their orbital defenses appear to be offline. We should reach bombardment range in 30 minutes. Kethver nodded with satisfaction. The primitive humans had collapsed even faster than he had predicted. Soon, Earth would be another trophy in the Council's collection of conquered worlds. The first sign of trouble came when the asteroid, designated as 2157 Alpha, suddenly moved. The massive rock, which had been drifting peacefully in space for millions of years, rotated to reveal hidden weapon systems. Railguns the size of skyscrapers emerged from concealed ports. "What is that?" Kethver demanded, staring at the tactical display. His answer came in the form of projectiles traveling at 30% of light speed. The tungsten rounds slammed into the Council's lead ships, punching through their shields and hulls like they were made of paper. 3 heavy cruisers exploded in brilliant flashes of light. Evasive maneuvers, Kethfer shouted, but it was too late. The entire asteroid belt had come alive with weapons. Hundreds of hidden gun platforms revealed themselves. Launching a coordinated assault on the Council fleet, Lieutenant Sarah Walsh led her fighter squadron through the chaos of battle. Her small ships were invisible to Council sensors, using advanced stealth technology that made them look like pieces of space debris. She watched as the alien fleet tried to respond to the asteroid assault. Blue Squadron, this is Blue Leader. Begin attack run on the Corthoni heavy cruiser. Target their weapon systems first. Walsh's fighters dove toward the massive alien ship, their quantum torpedoes ready to fire. The Council crews had never faced anything like Earth's fighter tactics. Human pilots were faster and more aggressive than any species the aliens had encountered. Walsh's squadron struck the Corthoni ship from 6 different angles, their weapons coordinated to overwhelm the alien defense systems. Dr. Paul Clark monitored the battle from his laboratory ship. His quantum torpedo technology was performing even better than expected. The weapons created small tears in space-time that simply erased anything they touched. Council shields, designed to stop conventional energy weapons, were useless against the quantum distortion. Torpedo effectiveness is at 97%, Clark reported to Admiral Brooks. The Council has no defense against quantum disruption technology. Brooks smiled grimly from his command center. Continue the bombardment. I want every Council ship that entered our system destroyed or captured. Captain Dan Cooper commanded the battlecruiser USS Defiance, leading a squadron of Earth's heavy ships against the Council's main battle group. His vessel was half the size of the alien cruisers, but its weapons were decades ahead of anything the Council possessed. All guns, target the Zephyrian command ship. Fire when ready. Cooper's ship unleashed a barrage of quantum torpedoes and railgun rounds. The alien vessel's shields collapsed under the assault, and secondary explosions tore through its hull. The Council fleet tried to maintain formation, but Earth's attack came from every direction. The asteroids continued their bombardment. Fighter squadrons struck at vulnerable points. Hidden weapon platforms throughout the solar system joined the battle. Kethfer watched in horror as his mighty fleet was torn apart by an enemy he had underestimated. How many ships have we lost? 73 vessels destroyed, sir. Another 45 have taken critical damage. The humans have weapons we have never seen before. The Council commander felt fear creeping into his heart. For 1,000 years, the Council had been the dominant power in the galaxy. No species had ever stood against them successfully. Now, a primitive world that they had dismissed as helpless was destroying his fleet. Send a message to the Council, Kethver ordered. Tell them that humanity is not what we thought. They have been hiding their true capabilities. We need reinforcements immediately. But the communication arrays were down, destroyed by Earth's precise targeting. The Council fleet was cut off from their home worlds, trapped in a system that had become their grave. Commander Martinez watched the battle from his asteroid command post. His weapons had performed perfectly, catching the Council fleet completely off guard. The aliens had expected to face primitive missile systems and nuclear weapons. Instead, they had encountered technology that was centuries ahead of their own. Commander, the Council fleet is trying to retreat, reported his tactical officer. Let them try, Martinez replied. They will find that leaving this system is much harder than entering it. The outer edges of the solar system came alive with more hidden weapons. The Council ships that tried to escape found themselves flying into carefully placed minefields. Stealth ships emerged from hiding spots among the outer planets, launching devastating attacks on the fleeing vessels. High Admiral Vrexthal, the Council's supreme commander, had been observing the battle from his massive dreadnought. The ancient alien had conquered dozens of worlds, but he had never seen anything like this. The humans had turned their entire solar system into a weapon. Order all ships to full retreat, Vrexthal commanded. We must escape this system and warn the Council about humanity's true capabilities. But Earth's forces had anticipated this move. Admiral Brooks had positioned his strongest ships along the most likely escape routes. The Council fleet found itself trapped between the advancing human forces and the deadly minefields at the system's edge. Lieutenant Walsh regrouped her fighters for another attack run. The Council ships were scattered and confused, making them easy targets for her skilled pilots. She led her squadron against a damaged Cepharian cruiser, finishing it off with a concentrated torpedo barrage. This is Blue Leader to all fighter squadrons. The Council fleet is broken. Begin search and destroy operations on all remaining vessels. The battle continued for 6 more hours, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. Earth's forces hunted down every Council ship that had dared to enter their system. The aliens' superior numbers meant nothing when faced with humanity's superior technology and tactics. Dr. Clark's quantum weapons continued to tear through Council defenses. The aliens had no counter for technology that manipulated space-time itself. Their ships, designed to fight conventional wars, were helpless against Earth's revolutionary weapons. Captain Cooper's battlecruiser led the final assault on the Council's command ship. The massive alien vessel tried to fight back, but its weapons could not penetrate the Defiance's quantum shields. Cooper's crew pounded the enemy ship with everything they had. Council command ship is taking critical damage, reported Cooper's weapons officer. Their power systems are failing. Continue firing until they surrender, or are destroyed, Cooper ordered. They wanted a war. Now, they have one. The Council's mighty fleet, which had entered Earth's system with such confidence, was reduced to scattered wreckage and fleeing survivors. Of the 200 ships that had come to conquer humanity, less than 30 escaped the trap. Commander Martinez surveyed the battlefield from his asteroid command post. The space around Earth was filled with burning alien ships and expanding clouds of debris. The Council had learned a harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. All stations, this is Asteroid Command. Phase 1 is complete. Prepare for Phase 2 operations. The hunt begins now. Admiral Brooks appeared on the communication screen, his face grim with determination. The Council came here to destroy us. They have failed. Now it is time to show them what happens when you threaten Earth. We will hunt down every ship that escaped. We will find their home worlds. We will make them pay for what they tried to do to us. The surviving Council ships limped away from Earth's solar system, carrying news of their defeat back to their home worlds. But they were being followed by Earth's stealth ships, which would track them all the way back to Council space. The trap had been sprung, and humanity had won their first victory. But the war was far from over. Earth's forces were already preparing for the next phase of the conflict. The Council had awakened a sleeping giant, and now they would face the consequences of their actions. Fleet Admiral Chris Baker stood in the command center of the massive shipyard, hidden behind Jupiter's moons. The facility had been built in secret over the past 5 years, disguised as a mining operation. Now it revealed its true purpose, as hundreds of warships emerged from concealed construction bays. Admiral, the fleet is ready for deployment, reported Captain Steve Miller, commander of the Deep Space Reconnaissance Force. 200 vessels, all equipped with the latest quantum weapons and stealth technology. Baker nodded as he watched, the ships forming into battle groups. Each vessel was larger and more powerful than anything the Council had ever seen. Earth's engineers had been busy while the aliens thought they were dealing with a primitive species. Begin Operation Retribution, Baker ordered. I want every Council ship that participated in the attack on Earth hunted down and destroyed. They wanted a war. Now they have one. The human fleet spread out across the galaxy, following the trail of the retreating Council forces. Earth's stealth ships had been tracking the alien vessels since they fled the solar system, marking their locations for the hunters that would follow. Major Lisa Taylor led her Marines aboard the assault ship Vengeance as it approached a damaged Council cruiser. The alien vessel had been limping toward a repair station when the human ships caught up with it. Now it hung dead in space, its crew trapped inside. "Boarding teams, prepare for entry," Taylor commanded. "Remember, we need prisoners for interrogation. Try to take the officers alive." The Marines cut through the alien ship's hull with plasma torches, then stormed through the corridors in their advanced combat suits. The Council crew had never faced human soldiers before and were unprepared for their speed and aggression. "Surrender now and you will be treated according to the laws of war," Taylor announced through the ship's communication system. "Continue to resist and you will be destroyed." The alien captain, a tall reptilian creature named Sektar, emerged from his hiding place with his hands raised. He had heard stories about human savagery from Council propaganda, but the soldiers who confronted him were disciplined and professional. "Your species has made a grave error," Sektar said through his translator. "The Council has resources you cannot imagine. More fleets are already being prepared to crush your rebellion." Taylor smiled coldly. "Let them come. We have something the Council has never faced before." "What is that?" the alien asked. "Humans who are angry," Taylor replied. Dr. Emma Rodriguez worked in her laboratory aboard the command ship, analyzing the intelligence gathered from captured Council vessels. Her artificial intelligence systems were processing terabytes of alien data, revealing the true scope of the Council's empire. "Admiral, you need to see this," Rodriguez called to Baker. "The Council has been enslaving primitive species for over 1,000 years. They have turned entire worlds into prison camps." Baker studied the holographic display, showing the Council's territory. Hundreds of worlds were marked as slave colonies, their populations forced to work in mines and factories. The aliens had built their civilization on the suffering of others. "How many species are we talking about?" Baker asked. "At least 200? Different races," Rodriguez replied. "The Council keeps them divided and weak, moving populations around so they cannot organize resistance." Baker felt his anger growing. The Council had not just threatened Earth, they had been committing genocide on a galactic scale. "Send this information to all our ships. I want every captain to know what we are really fighting against." "Captain." Steve Miller's scout ship emerged from hyperspace near the Council fortress world of Kepler 44-B. The planet was heavily defended, with orbital weapons platforms and a large fleet of warships protecting it. Miller's sensors detected something else that made his blood run cold. "Command, this is Scout 7. I have reached the Kepler system. The Council is using human prisoners as forced labor on the surface. I can see Earth uniforms among the work gangs." Baker's voice crackled with fury over the communication link. "How many of our people are down there?" "At least 3,000, sir. They must be survivors from the ships that were destroyed in the initial battle." "Understood. Mark that planet for immediate liberation. No Council force will be allowed to harm our people." The human fleet converged on Kepler 4, for to be like a storm of vengeance. The Council defenders had been expecting a conventional attack, but Earth's ships used tactics that no alien species had ever developed. They struck from multiple directions simultaneously, using their superior speed and maneuverability to overwhelm the enemy. Dr. Rodriguez's AI systems proved their worth during the battle. The artificial intelligence could process battle data faster than any organic mind, predicting Council movements and coordinating human attacks with perfect timing. "The Council's tactical computers are at least 50 years behind our technology," Rodriguez reported. "Their ships are fighting by algorithms that we can predict and counter." The battle for Kepler 44-B became a rout. The Council's orbital defenses were destroyed within the first hour. Their fleet was scattered and hunted down by human ships that moved like ghosts through space. The fortress world that had seemed impregnable fell to Earth's forces in a single day. Major Taylor led the assault on the planet's surface, her Marines landing in the middle of the slave camps. The human prisoners looked up in amazement as soldiers wearing Earth uniforms cut through their chains. "This is Major Taylor of the Terran Liberation Force," she announced. "You are free. We have come to take you home." The rescued prisoners wept with joy as they were loaded onto transport ships. Among them was Admiral Patricia Stone, who had been captured when her ship was destroyed in the initial battle. She was weak from months of forced labor, but her eyes still burned with determination. "The Council has more prison worlds," Stone told Baker when she was brought aboard the command ship. "Thousands of humans are being held across their territory. We cannot leave them behind." Baker nodded grimly. "We will not. Every human who is taken will be returned to Earth. Every world that has been enslaved will be liberated. The Council's empire ends now. The liberation of Kepler 44, to be sent shockwaves through Council space. For the first time in their history, the aliens faced an enemy that fought not just for conquest, but for justice." The news of humanity's victory spread to enslaved worlds throughout the galaxy. Captain Miller's reconnaissance ships reported uprisings on dozens of Council worlds. The oppressed species, inspired by humanity's example, were rising against their alien masters. The Council's empire was beginning to crumble from within. "The alien slaves are calling us the Liberators," Miller reported. "They are begging for our help in overthrowing their Council governors." Baker made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "All ships, this is Fleet Admiral Baker. Our mission has expanded. We are no longer just hunting Council forces. We are liberating every world that has been enslaved by the Council Empire." The human fleet split into task forces, each one assigned to a different sector of Council space. They moved like a plague of justice, striking at slave worlds and freeing their populations. The Council's carefully maintained system of oppression collapsed as world after world declared independence. Dr. Rodriguez's intelligence network grew with each victory. The liberated aliens provided information about Council, military installations, supply lines, and command structures. Soon, Earth's forces knew more about the Council's empire than the Council itself. "The aliens are joining our cause," Rodriguez reported. "They are providing ships and soldiers to help in the liberation effort. The Council's own subjects are turning against them." The hunt for Council forces became a galactic war of liberation. Earth's technological superiority, combined with the support of freed alien species, proved unstoppable. The Council's mighty empire, built over 1,000 years of conquest, was falling apart in a matter of months. Major Taylor stood on the bridge of her assault ship, watching another liberated world recede into the distance. The planet's population was free for the first time in centuries, and they had humanity to thank for it. "How many more worlds are there?" she asked her intelligence officer. "Approximately 400 confirmed slave worlds, Major. But the number keeps growing as we gather more information." Taylor smiled with grim satisfaction. The Council had started this war by threatening Earth. Now they were learning that humanity did not fight just for themselves. They fought for anyone who had been oppressed by tyranny. The hunt was far from over, but the outcome was no longer in doubt. The Council's empire was dying, and in its place, a new alliance of free worlds was being born. At its heart stood humanity, the species that had refused to surrender and had shown the galaxy what true freedom looked like. President Helen Adams stood before the assembled leaders of Earth in the secure command bunker beneath Washington, D.C. The holographic display showed the current state of the galactic war, with human forces closing in on the Council's capital. "World of Nexus Prime, the Council's empire is finished," Adams announced to the gathered officials. "In 6 months, we have liberated over 300 worlds and destroyed their military capacity. Now we face the final decision." General Bobby Wright, commander of the assault forces, stepped forward. "Madam President, Nexus Prime is the heart of the Council's power. If we take that world, their resistance will collapse completely." Adams nodded slowly. The weight of the decision pressed down on her shoulders. 6 months ago, Earth had been fighting for survival. Now they were deciding the fate of an entire galactic civilization. The Council has sent a message requesting negotiations, Adams said. They are offering to surrender unconditionally in exchange for the preservation of their homeworld. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. After 1,000 years of oppression, the Council was finally admitting defeat. "What are your recommendations, General?" Adams asked. Wright's face was hard with determination. "We finish this, Madam President. The Council had their chance for peace when they sent that ultimatum to Earth. They chose war instead. Now they must face the consequences." Dr. Kate Sullivan entered the briefing room carrying a sealed container. Inside was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a weapon that could end the war in minutes without destroying a single building. "The consciousness disruptor is ready," Sullivan announced. "The weapon targets the neural pathways of hive mind species. It will shut down their group consciousness without causing physical harm." Adams studied the device that could reshape the galaxy. "Are you certain it will work?" "Yes, Madam President. The Council's 3 primary species all use collective consciousness for coordination. The disruptor will break their mental links and leave them helpless. The final assault on Nexus Prime began at dawn, Earth time. General Wright commanded the largest fleet in human history, over 500 warships, supported by vessels from dozens of liberated alien species. The combined armada emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the Council's home system. Nexus Prime was a world of impossible beauty, its cities built from living crystal that sparkled like jewels in the system's twin suns. But beneath that beauty lay the command center of a galactic empire built on slavery and oppression. The Council's final fleet waited in defensive formation around their homeworld. They had gathered every remaining ship, calling in forces from across their dying empire. It was the largest space battle in galactic history, with over 2,000 vessels on both sides. Captain Alex Turner led the advance guard of human fighters toward the Council's defensive line. His squadron was composed of pilots from Earth and a dozen liberated worlds, united in their determination to end the Council's reign of terror. "All fighters, this is Strike Leader. Remember, we are not here to conquer. We are here to liberate. The people of Nexus Prime deserve freedom, just like everyone else." The battle raged across the entire star system. Human ships, their quantum weapons blazing, tore through the Council's defenses. The alien fleet fought with the desperation of a dying empire. But their outdated tactics were no match for humanity's superior technology and tactics. Dr. Sullivan watched from the command ship as the battle unfolded. Her consciousness disruptor was ready, but Wright wanted to try conventional methods first. The weapon would only be used as a last resort. "General, the Council fleet is breaking," reported the tactical officer. "Their formation is collapsing. We have achieved space superiority." Wright nodded grimly. "Begin the planetary assault. All landing forces, prepare for deployment." The Council's ground defenses were formidable, but they had been designed to fight conventional wars. Human assault. Teams used advanced stealth technology to infiltrate the planet's major cities. Captain Turner's fighters provided close air support, their precision strikes neutralizing military targets without harming civilians. The Council's leaders gathered in their crystal palace at the heart of Nexus Prime. High Council, Prime's the ancient being who had ruled the Empire for centuries, watched helplessly as his defenses crumbled. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "We have ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years. How can one primitive species destroy everything we have built?" His intelligence advisor, a nervous creature named Veltar, consulted his data screens. "The humans are not primitive, Prime. They have been hiding their true capabilities for years. Their technology is decades ahead of ours." "Then we fight too," the last Zex Thaler declared. "The Council will not surrender to these upstart mammals." But even as he spoke, The Council's hive mind species were beginning to panic. Their collective consciousness was struggling to process the scale of their defeat. The mental link that had held the Empire together for centuries was starting to break down. Captain Turner's assault team reached the Crystal Palace just as the Council's final defenses collapsed. The alien leaders had barricaded themselves in their throne room, determined to fight to the end. Council leadership, this is Captain Turner of the Terran Liberation Force. You are surrounded. Surrender now, and you will be treated with dignity. The reply came in the form of energy blasts from the palace's internal defenses. The Council's guards, fanatically loyal to their masters, opened fire on the human soldiers. Turner's team responded, with precision and overwhelming firepower. Their quantum weapons cut through the palace's defenses like paper. Within minutes, the Council's guards were dead or surrendering. General Wright entered the throne room with his staff, facing the surviving Council leaders. The ancient aliens looked smaller and more pathetic than he had expected. For 1,000 years, they had terrorized the galaxy. Now they cowered before the soldiers of a species they had once dismissed as primitive. Council Primes, Wright said formally. I am General Bobby Wright of the Terran Defense Forces. You are under arrest for crimes against sentient life. The ancient alien drew himself up to his full height, trying to maintain some dignity in defeat. You have won this battle, human. But the Council's influence spans the galaxy. Our allies will never accept your rule. Wright smiled coldly. We are not here to rule anyone. We are here to free the species you have enslaved. The Council's empire is finished. In its place, we will build something better. Dr. Sullivan's consciousness disruptor was deployed as a precaution, but it was not needed. The Council's hive species had already begun to fragment, their collective consciousness shattered by the psychological impact of defeat. President Adams appeared on the global communication network, addressing not just Earth but the entire galaxy. Her words were transmitted to every liberated world, every freed species, every corner of space where sentient life existed. People of the galaxy, she began. Today, the Council's empire of oppression has ended. For 1,000 years, they ruled, through fear and slavery. That dark age is over. The president's image appeared on screens across hundreds of worlds. Humans, aliens, and hybrid species watched as the leader of Earth outlined her vision for the future. We propose the creation of a free galactic alliance, Adams continued. A confederation of worlds, where every species has an equal voice, where slavery is outlawed, where freedom is the birthright of all sentient beings. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Representatives from liberated worlds sent messages of support. Even species that had once served the Council voluntarily joined the new alliance. Captain Turner stood in the ruins of the Council's palace, watching as the crystal spires were converted into monuments to the freed slaves. The beautiful city would survive, but it would serve freedom instead of oppression. Was it worth it? Asked his aide, Lieutenant Karen Davis. All the fighting, all the death. Turner looked up at the sky, where ships from dozens of species were working together to rebuild the galaxy. Ask the children who will grow up free because of what we did today. Ask the species who will never again know the weight of chains. The war was over, but the work of building a better galaxy had just begun. The Free Galactic Alliance would face challenges and conflicts, but it would face them as equals, not as masters and slaves. General Wright filed his final report to President Adams from the surface of Nexus Prime. The Council's military forces have been completely disbanded. Their leaders are in custody awaiting trial. The transition to democratic government is proceeding smoothly. Adams smiled as she read the report. 6 months ago, the Council had come to Earth with an ultimatum. They had expected to find a primitive species that would surrender without a fight. Instead, they had awakened humanity's greatest strength, the refusal to accept injustice. The fury they ignited in us Adams said to her staff, was not just about revenge. It was about ensuring that no species would ever again live in fear of tyrants. The galaxy was free, and humanity had played its part in that liberation. But more importantly, they had shown that freedom was not just a human concept. It was the birthright of all sentient life. And it was worth any sacrifice to defend. The Council's empire was dust, but from its ashes rose something better. A galaxy where every species had a voice, where justice prevailed over oppression, and where the light of freedom would never again be extinguished.